And that's us live. Hello, Christian. How you doing?
Hello, Ben. Hello, Ben. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm very happy that you're here joining me to have a nice conversation about all things Power BI and some other random stuff that always comes up along the way as well. To get us started, would you like to introduce yourself to the people who may not know who you are and all the fantastic things that you've achieved?
Yeah, absolutely, Ben. Thank you very much for having me. Very happy to be here. So let's see. I'm the program management lead for, or general program manager actually for semantic modeling in Power BI, which includes the kind of traditional enterprise semantic modeling use case, which back in the day was exclusive to the analysis services products. And so my PM team also owns the analysis services products. And obviously the big shiny new toy is Power BI Premium. So, we own that kind of migration path and roadmap from the analysis services products to Power BI Premium. And we own a lot of those kind of semantic modeling features for big data in Power BI Premium, and for these semantic models that require extra scalability and have extra complexity, semantic modeling logic that is like reused across large organizations to promote that kind of single version of the truth kind of holy grail that people would aspire to and have done for a long time. So yeah, that's what my team and I kind of own from the PM standpoint. Yeah,
it's quite a lot of stuff. Quite a lot of cool stuff. I feel a bit left out as having never used Premium other than a trial of Premium per user. I feel a bit out of my depth, to be quite honest. So I might just be reading questions from the chat the entire night. I will ask one initial question about, you mentioned big data modeling, yeah?
Yeah.
I've never actually seen Adam Saxton admit anything actually is big data. It's always like, no, it's too small. It's too small. It's big data is. So what actually? How big does data have to be for it to be big? And then tell Adam so he knows as well.
Just a petabyte here, a couple of petabytes there.
Okay.
Like, I don't deal in terabytes anymore. Like when I go to work, if I see like something that's equivalent to a terabyte and I can just stop and pick it up, I won't even bother anymore. It's like it's not worth my while. I deal in petabytes. Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty extreme. So basically, something that doesn't fit on a flash drive, for example.
Right. Yeah. I did a session with Scott Hanselman a long time ago, and I was doing like the original clicky draggy droppy demo where I actually had I think the original one was like quarter of a petabyte. It wasn't actually a petabyte. It was quarter of a petabyte. So it wasn't really as all that impressive, but it was a quarter of a petabyte. Real data, and it was a long time ago now. And the first version was in HDI Spark, and then it migrated it to Databricks. And I was doing a demo with Scott Hanselman, and he had like some old, like historic museum-worthy, like floppy drives and stuff. And he said, "Is it as big as this?" And I was like, it's a bit bigger than that, Scott. And he said, "Well, look, I got 3 of these." And he's had like this floppy drive that was about this big, right? One of the original, like really big ones. And he said, "Well, is it bigger than all 3 of these put together?" And I said, "Scott, we're talking like a petabyte. That thing's like a megabyte, not even a megabyte. That's like a couple of kilobytes or something, Yeah.
I don't want to show my age, but I do remember these huge discs, the huge floppy discs. Like they were literally floppy, like the large. What size were those again? They were huge. I had like it.
I don't know. Maybe the original ones were probably a bit bigger, right? They're probably about 10 inches or so, something like that.
Yeah. Maybe it was like one scale down from that. It was when I was in first school, and I remember it was really important, this disc, whatever it was, because it contained the only computer game that my school owned, and it was like the Wizard of Oz. And we had like one computer in the school and this one very floppy disk, and we had to like cart it around the entire school. So that's
the only computer game in the whole country was on this disk.
We kept it in like a safe and
very precious. Yeah.
Fantastic. All right, so good. Big data. This is clarified. I'm going to go to a couple of questions because, as I mentioned before, I think this is the first time we've ever had questions asked before the chat even started. But I'll start with Johnny because he hasn't been here for a while. So I'll start with Johnny. We'll get back to that in a second. That's okay. Nice to have you again, Johnny. By the way, there's a bit of a bun fight. I don't know what a bun fight is. At SQL Bits last week, and Mark Russo was. What's a bun fight? Don't do enough to support open source third-party tools. One of two. Given Christians on both sides of the fence with ALM tools, what's your view, mate? What's your view of this bun fight, which I need to have clarified?
I unfortunately I missed the bun fight. I wish I'd been there. It sounds like I that was probably the main attraction. Well, probably not. The SQL Bits is awesome. There's a bunch of like really one of my favorite sessions that I did there was when I launched calculation groups for SQL Server Analysis Services 2019 at SQL Bits, and it was the perfect audience to launch it at. So anyway, bun fights sound like fun, but let's see. So yeah, I mean, that's my background. My background, before I even joined Microsoft, I was building the predecessor to. I knew my dog was going to start. Right, so I told you I've got 150-pound English Mastiff. I warned you ahead of time. I'm going to probably have to bring her in, right? She likes DAX and MDX and stuff, so I might have to bring her in.
Fantastic. Anyway, we'll ask some questions as well.
Yeah. So let's see. So I mean, that's my background, right? From going back, let's see, how long ago? Like well over probably 15 years. I think around 2010. I remember SQL Server Analysis Services 2012 was the first Analysis Services tabular release, and I was already creating a predecessor to BISM Normalizer, which was a predecessor to ALM Toolkit for multidimensional. It didn't work at all because of all of the interdependencies between all of the objects that you get in multidimensional, and so that was like 2010. So that's my background, right? So I'm all for open platform extensibility and programmability as much as possible. I was the PM for bringing the XMLA endpoint to Power BI back in the day, and that brings like all of the analysis services programmability and backwards compatibility with all the analysis services tools and processes, and all of these tools like Tablet Editor and DAX Studio and Bids Helper. Analysis services has a rich history in these kind of community tools, and so I'm all for making it as open platform as possible. I know we still have some work to do there, but we have, I don't want to be rested on my laurels, but we have made some progress. XMLA in Power BI Premium, and something that people don't really know that happened was a couple of years ago we launched what we called the enhanced data set metadata for Power BI Desktop. There's actually some documentation out there somewhere. And what that means is that if you hack open the BIX now, which obviously no one would ever do, I know, but in a hypothetical world where people are hacking open PBIXs, right? And you actually had a look at the data set metadata, you would now find that it's, tablet object model metadata or compliant, which a lot of people refer to as TIMSL. That data set metadata is a subset of the tablet model scripting language specification. So if you hack open the PBX and look in that data model metadata file, it will actually be valid tablet object model metadata, right? Like, kind of like TIMSL, tablet model scripting language. Whereas in the old days, before a couple of years ago, it was all like all of the M expressions were like, base 64 encoded machine code. It was just like a blob, right? Whereas now, at least like if you're the kind of person that likes looking at metadata and likes looking at how impressive JSON looks, and even though you can't do much with it, but you can at least look at all of, wow, I can see the tables, I can see the relationships and the measures, and it's all in beautiful JSON, and it's like you open it up in Notepad, and if you enjoy that kind of thing, then that was a pretty significant feature. But what that means is that going forward, we will be able to then the thing that everyone wants, right, is what, Mark Alberto, Chris Webb, and everyone calls desktop hardening. We call this desktop hardening internally, right? And so the deal with desktop hardening is that we can have Power BI Desktop hardened to the external model changes, so that, for example, external processes would be able to generate the tablet object model metadata in the JSON format, put it on the file system, or worst case scenario into the PBIX, but ideally on the file system, maybe in a BIM file or some revolutionary thing like a BIM file, and then actually have it open up with Power BI Desktop, right? That's what we internally call desktop hardening. And I'm not, it's something that I push for about 4 or 5 times a day. I ask people for it. Are we done? Are we going to do desktop hardening yet? Are we going to do this? I'm sounding like a broken record, but it's something that will eventually happen, right? That we will actually extract data set metadata, put it on the file system, create a BIM file, allow you to check it into source control, allow you to merge, allow you to roll back to previous version, integrate with CI/CD, DevOps deployments, and even do the same for the report file one day, right? So that we will do that. I mean, I don't know when. I don't have a date. I wish it was like tomorrow, but I'm telling you, we will do that, right?
And most importantly,
most
importantly, that will all be available in Pro. That's what you want to tell me, right? This is the final. Everything that you just said,
so,
will be completely Pro feed, no premium. Everything.
Well, it will be available in with Power BI Desktop alone, right, prior to publishing. Now, when you publish it, you may. I haven't even decided whether you'll be able to, or we haven't discussed to publish to Pro or not. But in order to make use of that dataset metadata in the service, you normally would use XMLA endpoint, and that is definitely available in premium per user. So you can upgrade from Pro to premium per user at an incremental cost. And it would definitely be available. The XML endpoint would give you compatibility there. Yeah.
Very cool. I should get you to speak to some people, like maybe my boss, so you can say all these like really cool stuff, and then just say at the end, and you can just upgrade to premium per user, and then it just sounds like it's just like it's a really good sales line just stuck on the end. You know what I mean? All this impressive stuff, and then premium per user. But okay, this is good.
A lot of my long-winded, random discussions ends up with, and you can upgrade to premium per user.
Yeah. PPU is a no-brainer. It's in JSON. It's not beautiful. JSON is beautiful. I love JSON, to be honest. But what are you going to do? Each to their own. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, or whatever they say. But I love me a bit of JSON. I'm going to see if I can scroll all the way at the top of this chat and find a question that we have. I don't think I can find the question. It's going to be terrible. 1 second. I have to go to actually a bit of YouTube, because I always close my window because I'm a bit of an idiot. We had a question that came in, as I said, before the chat started, and now I've lost it. But this is okay. We have plenty of more questions. Yeah. So I know it's not a real question, but Alan Tool makes money. Basically, is I think people kind of take the piss out of that. I noticed for that. Johnny was saying that he actually had a blog post on the talk that you mentioned. So to actually have people here to have done blog post on your talk is pretty cool. I got to say, mate. Yeah. It's quite a nice thing to have. Not too shabby at all. I'm pleased you brought up desktop hardening, because I was going through this like list of before we had this chat. You sent me an email, and you mentioned desktop hardening. I was like, I could Google what that is, and I did a little bit, and I was like, I just need to. I need to ask what desktop hardening actually is. So I'm pleased you clarified that, because I wasn't entirely sure. And it's one of those things that I was a bit scared of having that on maybe my search history on my work computer. But it's all good.
It's so strategic. Like, it will open up the scenarios that I just described. I can see
exactly.
Matthias is online, and he'll be very happy when we actually do what I described, just saving those files on the file system. But it actually opens up a bunch of other scenarios as well, like download to PBIX or PBIT after XMLA metadata, after XMLA updates in the service, compatibility with incremental refresh models that have partitions. There's a bunch of other scenarios that will open up. Yeah.
I would add on that t-shirt.
Hardening t-shirts. Yeah, there you go.
Hardening t-shirt. Yeah. Hey, Jeff was very kind enough to copy and paste that question, by the way. Jeff, I really appreciate that, mate. You saved me there. Any plans to support SSAS on premises for Power BI composite model? Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
This has the benefit of being the first ever question we've had before it starts. There you go. I'll keep it on there.
Yeah, funny you should ask. Let's see. So I'm known for leaking announcements, right? So I've done it. I've done it a ton of times. So to prevent myself from leaking an announcement again, I'm going to say that let's just say that in a hypothetical parallel world, it is very likely that the next major version of SQL Server Analysis Services, which in this parallel world could actually be shipping, in the not too distant future, would actually have support for composite models, or the source for be the source for composite models like Azure AS is. You can't actually have a composite model itself in Azure AS. You won't be able to in SQL Server Analysis Services either. But in this hypothetical world, you would be able to use it as the source for a composite model for direct query over analysis services. And yes, that would hypothetically be something that I would be very happy to tell you about.
Wow. I'm hypothetically very happy to hear that. Hypothetically,
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
Very cool.
Of course. And I leaked nothing there. I leaked nothing.
And I think it's also a hypothetical rule exclusive on Connect Live. And it's also hypothetically the best, worst, not a leak ever. Very cool. Okay, nice. That is actually probably the first ever. Let's call it a world exclusive. Why not? It's something that we're hearing here for the first time. Very nice, mate. Very nice. Were you ever? I mean, going back to some other random topics, were you ever tempted to really quit at the head of your game, and once you'd coined the phrase "clicky, clicky, draggy, droppy," just to say, "Okay, I've coined that phrase now. Everyone knows it." Oh, my lights just gone pink. And my lights have gone pink because my wife is controlling the lights in my kids' room.
I
switched on my shoe lights. She's made my face even more red than it usually is. 1 second. Let's see if I can fix this again. Is that better? There you go. Yeah. That's this also it's also like one of your pinned tweets as well. Where's it? Clicky. I'm sorry, I should know. Clicky, clicky, draggy, droppy data analysis.
Clicky,
correct?
Clicky, draggy, droppy. Yes, that's the one.
Absolutely love it.
Yeah. So
it's kind of like,
let's see.
Kind of like one of those things that if you have a band who made loads of really awesome songs, but they're kind of famous for like the most cheesy song. That could be like that.
The one song that everyone knows them for, and they know none of the others.
I suppose like if REM were only kind of famous for like shiny happy people, it would be kind of like that sort of situation.
That'll be it.
Yeah. Love it though.
So no, I want my laurels on clicky, clicky, draggy, droppy because I want it to proliferate throughout. I want like people to actually put it into practice and actually start using it. I want it to be in the English dictionary for a start. And I want it to be recognized widely and actually be put into practice as a recognized like a discipline. And so that's my goal. And when I achieve that, then maybe I'll think about it.
Fair enough. That sounds good. We'll try. I mean, not that we want you to retire or anything, of course not.
No.
But to get it in the Oxford English Dictionary or whatever the US equivalent of the Oxford English Dictionary is.
Yeah. We'll just stick with the Oxford one's fine. Yeah. Oxford one is fine. Yeah.
Everything's spelled correctly in there anyway. Yeah. I'm just seeing someone saying that calculation group format strings hurt them, and I'm not sure why. What's wrong with calculation group format strings?
So let's see. So we introduced dynamic format strings for measures indirectly through calculation groups. You can do some really cool things that you can have like currency conversion. You can dynamically show different currencies and different currency format strings and some really smart. And it's a dynamic DAX expression that's evaluated. Based on the filter context, you can say is the filter context Brazilian reais or whatever you like, and you name it, it will deal with it. And you can, there's some really cool things you can do. But because of that, there are some cases because that calculation groups has the ability to be so dynamic that it does somewhat decay the data type of the measure that subscribes to the calculation group, and that can have issues in some of the other components in Power BI. As I think Jeff asked that question, and Jeff knows because he tweeted about it. And just to let you know, Jeff, that we've been having an internal discussion that referred to that tweet. And I'm asking people, can we get all of this fixed? And it's just gonna take some time. So it is what it is. I don't have a time frame for it right now. It's basically some intersections of calculation groups with let's see if it might be I don't remember if it's spark lines and some of the Grenade stuff. In some cases, if the has to decay what we call internally the data type to a variant, then you can have some issues with those visuals. We're evaluating now whether the path of resistance to fix that is to not decay the data type as easily, or to fix the visuals. We haven't decided that yet, and it's going to take a little while to get through that.
Interesting. I like the thought. I'm just a couple of comments here. I like the thought that you actually looked at the tweets. I have this image now of a group of people working for Microsoft just sitting, just looking at tweets, scrolling through tweets. Say, okay, let's discuss this one. Just as like basically maybe like a rolling Twitter stream in Microsoft where you can just see all the things that are Power BI related.
Yeah, I use these tweets to back up the case for it, to make the case for this. So feel free to ping me when you have these kind of suggestions, and I can use them in discussions with engineering to kind of make the case that we should actually do this.
Whatever comes next after you've said that, I think you might have brought on yourself, to be honest.
Yeah, but it's all good because I want it. I bring it on. It's all good. I don't mind. I don't mind.
Very good. Good to know, mate. So you said your role today isn't as technical as it used to be. Is it correct? Okay.
Yeah, that's right. So there were features like calculation groups, right? I was the PM for calculation groups and in Power BI, and then for 679 services, and there were lots of other features. Like back in the day, we did stuff like detail rows, and I was the PM for the original aggregations feature, which is presented in a nice little dialogue in Power BI Desktop, but actually has a lot of kind of design assumptions going on in the background about granularities and RLS rules being applied and relationship direction restrictions and this knows what. So back in the day I was more technical. Nowadays I manage the backlog for the semantic modeling features in Power BI. There's actually multiple backlogs. There's the backlog for the analysis services engine team, which will actually show up in potential. The same engine is used in SQL Server Analysis Services and Azure Analysis Services and in Power BI. Some of the features are disabled in certain products, like aggregations, for example. And so I manage the backlog for that team, and we've got a backlog that we're increasing the resource in terms of the semantic modeling, authoring, and consumption. You see, with calculation groups, it's just presented as a table. There was no additional consumption development requirement. But if we introduce something like default filters, it'd be nice to show the filter in the filter pane so that people can see that it's there. And there's an extra bit of consumption work. So we're increasing the investment, or something like hybrid tables and incremental refresh. Those have a separate dialogue. Aggregations has a dialogue in desktop. That's not something that would normally go to the analysis services team. That needs to go to a team that can drive features in the Power BI Desktop code base. So we're increasing our resources for that team. So those are the backlogs that I would manage. I would manage like what can we ship in SQL Server Analysis Services vNext, and things like that.
Not too shabby. Still sounds pretty technical.
Hey, So sorry, back to your original point. Like I manage these backlogs, and then I assign the features to PMs on my team that they will follow through. They'll do, a lot of the time I need to already be on top of the kind of prioritization, which requires input from the community, from customers, from big customers, from stakeholders. And then once we decide we're going to actually work on something, I would then assign a PM, and then that PM is the one go into the detail around how the feature actually works and drive it through engineering, and then actually do define the criteria, and then go out and demo it to the world, and that type of thing.
Yeah. Nice. Like it a lot, mate. Like it a lot.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bang through some. I'm gonna just bang through some questions now, mate. Because a few came for you. Are you prepared? You ready?
Yeah.
It's not like it's not a lightning round. I promise. I'm just
no worries.
Saying that they're coming. This is a good question. Is this true? Is it true that Christian basically wrote the video package with me?
It's another Christian. Like there's about 5 Christians in the Power BI team. Right? They're all spelt slightly differently. There's Christian with a KRY, right? Who's one of the big data engine developers. He's on Twitter a little bit. He is critical for a bunch of features like auto ags and stuff like that. So there's that Christian. There's Christian Barkowski, and then there is Christian Petrulescu, who is one of the founding members of the original Ad Services engine team, and he's like a distinguished engineer at Microsoft, and he works, he reports to Amir, and he created the original version of the VodaPack engine with Amir back in the day, as legend would have it. And then which is the version that we inherited today, that we now casually call the VodaPack engine in Ad Services. Apparently, as legend, Christian Petrulescu created the first ever version of the VodaPack engine in an hour or something like that. He did it in an hour, something just crazy like that. And he was like, he was like on a plane or something like that, and he created the VodaPack engine in an hour. Apparently,
he was bored.
He was just bored.
I need something to do.
He was like, he did like the movies on the plane. He thought, I'm just going to create like a VodaPack engine that's going to transform the whole of the BI industry, and I'll just do it in an hour. It's no big deal.
Not bad. I've got to say, right now I've been shamed by your ability to remember many names, because I was doing a talk in the Berlin user group the other day about Deneb, and I felt terrible because I forgot Bernard's name. And I was just sitting there. I was like, the guy who does the blog and the calculation group. I couldn't remember. I felt so bad. So your ability to remember 25 colleagues' names and their surnames and who they report to is very impressive. And we'll just circle back to another.
They're all called Christian though, so it's easy because they're all called Christian. So that makes it a lot easier.
Have you tried to poach Christian? Well, the question is, then which Christian? We've tried to poach one Christian, maybe. We poached him, but it turned out to be the wrong Christian.
They've made multiple attempts. We're trying to keep track of all these attempts and which Christians they're trying to poach, but So we're sticking where we are for now.
Yeah. Why don't you just take all the Christians just to be on the safe side? Just Christian and all variations of Christian.
Exactly. And then they might as well just it would be more efficient from their point of view. I will quickly say that whilst we are actually, Christian Petrulescu is the architect for. He's the architect for Synapse as well. But let's see. So I will just say that we are working on some capabilities which I'm not at liberty. Even I can't leak the details of right now.
Wow.
They're that top secret that even I can't leak the details. But I will just say that in a hypothetical world, no, I will just say that just expect the Ad Services engine to start having some tighter integration with Synapse here and there, and start rearing its head here and there a few more plays. Just that's what I'm going to say. That's what I can say, right? So just expect that we will be more closely integrated with the data warehouse and data lake platforms here and there. That's all I can say right now. Yeah.
Wow. Really, just really teasing some features today there, mate, like that. I haven't overlooked your question, Matthias, and I'm going to bring it up right now. But one more thing. Yes, Bernard, today I remembered your name, but as I was telling that story, I panicked for 1 second. I was like, this story is going to be really bad if I forget your name again, but I didn't, so it was all good. So here's a question that I didn't skip, but just I thought I'd get to right now. Could you talk about the new changed property attribute, which you recently added to TOM? Is that part of desktop hardening? We love desktop hardening tonight.
No, let's see. There are like I say, back in the day, I knew every single property in the whole of the tablet object model, like the back of my hand. It was like I would literally wake up in the middle of the night and think about, have we actually implemented the storage mode property at the partition level and the default at the table level across multiple. But anyway, so Matthias,
Similar dreams.
let's see. I don't have the specific particular property. I do know that the desktop team sometimes has some TOM properties for things like composite models. They added that lineage view, which Daniel for Editor and I had to do some code changes in our external tools to allow for. They added that lineage view so that you can rename a column or a measure and it doesn't break composite models and things like that. So I don't have the specifics on that one, I'm afraid, Matthias. But
well,
I someone on my team could get back to you with the details on that.
Well,
when the time comes. I know you've already asked me about that, and Matthias has already asked that, but on email, by the way. And when we get to desktop hardening, and that was in the context of desktop hardening.
Nice.
When we get to desktop hardening, we'll provide the details in the context of desktop hardening, Matthias.
Maybe 1 week on one of these chats, I can just invite all the Christians, and then one of them can give the answer.
Yeah,
be like,
that would
10,
be something
10 people.
else. That would be something else. I'll tell you what, some of them are real characters, and if you get all of them on one call at the same time, whew,
excellent.
Oh man, it's gonna be pretty impressive. Yeah.
I would just switch off my camera, mute myself, and like, okay, guys, just go for it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. How good is Christian? That's a fair question, given the fact they got a pretty cool looking pool table sitting behind you, mate.
Yeah. So, the real. If I was a real hustler, I would say, oh, I'm rubbish. I've barely played, and I don't know which end of the pool.
The bat.
Yeah, which is the bat. What is this? A cricket bat? Or something? And so, but I do play a little bit. So yeah, I enjoy. Through COVID and stuff, occasionally, like you have to sit through some videos and stuff that you don't need to be fully engaged. You can have a quick game of pool in the background or just knocking a few balls. So yeah, if you ever come over to my neck of the woods and you fancy yourself as a bit of a pool shark, just knock over to my house and we'll see what you got.
Sounds good. It's an open challenge. I like that. That's open to everyone in the chat as well. That's just generally
everyone, all of the Power BI community, all millions
Excellent.
of you. You're welcome to come to my house. Yeah.
We'll hang a webcam above the table. We'll do like a live session of playing pool.
A live session. There you go.
Just so you can really see that. I mean, if you got to answer Johnny's question at some point, so then you'll know the answer. This is how good I am at pool. If you just completely destroyed everyone. Oh man, so something about C# going on here. We want C# accepting for the visual layer.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm not going to argue.
Yeah.
And look, we've got a question that's even been put in the queue, and that's just I have to pose this question because it's been posed so well with the queue, so I know it's a question. I really appreciate that, Didier. Thank you very much. Not normally so professional over here. I just read out all the random comments, but I feel model translations don't work anymore on the desktop since March. What happened there? Is there a time?
I'm not aware of anything of a regression
really
since March. Yeah, I do know that we could do better with translations. Like we have the metadata translations that you get with Analysis Services Tabular, right? We don't have the data translations like you have with multidimensional yet. We have a design for it. We just haven't funded it yet. And we could also improve the kind of what we internally call the report translations, that you could have like report titles, even the report tabs, and the report metadata could have its own set of translations rather than just the dataset metadata. Those things we want to do. We haven't funded them yet. We have designs. We've been talking about them for years. Want to get them done. Hopefully, they're not a million miles away now. But I don't have any time frames for that, and I'm not aware of any regressions in the March desktop release.
Can't comment on that. I'll just take your word for it. That's what I'm here for. I put the questions, you give the answers, and that just becomes the answer. So there you go. Bernard, I realized that I didn't know that I didn't have a name. I actually do. I have a really boring answer to that question. It's basically because this annoying camera that I use uses letterbox mode, which cuts off my name. And that's why I'm not going to go into it too much because it's really, really dull answer for you. But I promised I do still have a name. It's still Ben. But just you can't see. But I think my name's less important because I'm here all the time. No one needs to hear what I have to say or hear stories from me because they've heard them all before. You know what I'm saying? But I thank you very much for bringing that to my attention. Next time I'll try to resolve such issues. My God. Yeah, very cool. You sent so on this list of stuff that you sent me, which I really appreciated, by the way, because it was nice just to have and I really enjoyed the fact that it was a list of features also delivered by your team as well, by the way. It's quite a nice thing. Is this still like, so I'm going to bring them up now to have a look. Nice stuff. So basically this announcing on-demand loading capabilities for large models in Power BI. Again, a lot of the stuff I was reading through it and I was like, okay, so when it says Premium and Pro, I was happy when it said and Pro as well. Just to kind of understand a lot of what's going on. But it was, to be honest, it's quite interesting to me because a lot of the stuff that I've never used before in the premium part is just kind of beyond my grasp of knowledge. So to sit here and listen to you talk about these sort of things, it's quite a nice thing because I know that one day when I have access to premium, I can enjoy all of these things that you're talking about. And I look forward.
By the way, Ben, like pretty much I'm almost everything that is in premium per capacity is available in premium per user. So certainly the stuff I talk about, you should have access to. Yeah. So
I don't have premium per user. I don't have PPU. I just got a Pro.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So I'm on the cusp of mentioning the PPU concept to my company, but I think maybe now is not the best time. But PPU is what I aim for, and me and one of my colleagues at the company, we did the PPU trial. Very nice. But it wasn't something that we kept using. So I just read it and I look at it and think, one day I'll have all of this. But I did see one of the, what I was thinking though, of all these like different features, because obviously I was reading through the blogs, the posts that you sent, and I was thinking about all the different just features that have been announced and that were really requested. And I realized, I could be really wrong here. I mean, maybe everyone's got a different, experience of these things. I think one of the features which I remember being introduced, I remember being really requested, was the ability to comment. So when you have a published report, you can now comment on the report itself. You can comment on individual visualizations, all this stuff. And that's been there for quite a long time. But I do remember that before that existed, I had so many people asking, can you comment? It would be great if you could comment. And then it was released. And after it was released, no one used it at all. It was a really strange thing. I just, okay, right now I can tell all my colleagues, you can comment now, you can comment on individual visualizations. And somehow, after that happened, it was just like, oh, great, you can do it. And then nothing. No one used it.
Yeah, I think the thing was that someone raised it on ideas.powerbui.com and it just generated a bunch of comments. And there were just so many comments that eventually said, let's just do this feature. But I think that was the cause.
Yeah, fair enough. So, no, it was a random thing to think of, but I think I was walking the dog today and it came to my mind, So let's go back to the questions. I've had ran a bit of chat. So what we got here. How much time does the team spend looking at Google Data Studio tablet?
I mean,
this is a good question.
We are aware of the main developments. We're aware of their we're obviously aware of their main strengths and weaknesses and how they stack up to ours. We'd be mugs if we weren't. But I'm going to be honest, like, we focus more on, what the customer needs and driving what we believe is going to, expand our user base by adding value to our customers, to, from my perspective, to unlock big data, to bring all of these semantic models to Power BI, have them integrated closely with the Power BI ecosystem, and adding value to customers that way. Honestly, that's what we get out of bed in the morning and think about, is how can we enhance the product for our customers for these kind of semantic modeling scenarios. That's really what drives us. We don't, we're not driven by what is the competition doing. Whether they do that to us or not, I have no idea. Because, like I say, I'm more focused on adding value to the customer than what they're doing. But obviously, we have to be aware of, what their strengths and weaknesses are, what their major investments are. If they make an acquisition, and things like that. We absolutely have to be aware of what their strengths and weaknesses are.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think it's the same with all businesses in general and competitors, right? You have to look at what they're doing, but if you get too distracted by what they're doing, you kind of lose track of your own goals, your own targets, and all that kind of stuff. And
And I think Satya Nadella takes that kind of strategy more about creating new markets rather than chasing the competition.
I haven't used Tableau for a few years now, to be honest. So when people say this, once got used, Tableau was connected to SAS, which was the best of both worlds. Okay, fair enough. So there
are many worlds in this universe. So
very good point. But yeah, actually, also this is a good point. People mentioned Mim a couple of times. Follow Mim on Twitter, and he seems to use everything. To be honest, he has an opinion, or at least experience using so many different tools. It's insane. I'm a bit jealous, actually, to be able to have to go. I like to, of course, focus on Power BI. That's kind of what I do, but to actually use so many different tools and to have a frame of reference would be a fantastic thing. Jeff, I'll bring this question up. I think we're covered, but it's okay. We can loop back around. The birth of the phrase "clicky, clicky, draggy, droppy." It's okay. One more time, mate. You love it, really.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see. I used to work when I first came a long time ago, like it seems like a far away now. When I first came to America, I literally used to work in a trailer in the middle of an oil field, in the middle of a 20 square mile oil field in California, with like these nodding donkey oil pumps that don't exist in England, right? And they would squeak, like you could hear them from in the trailer. You'd be trying to work and going. That's why they call them nodding donkey. They look like a nodding donkey and actually sound like a nodding donkey as well. They go like that. So you're trying to work and you've got all these oil pumps everywhere. And then my job was to introduce all of these oil roughnecks to, back then it was, Excel and analysis services. And so I would drive around all the oil fields in California and introduce all of the roughnecks to how you could use a pivot table to an analysis services model. And then it just came out just spontaneously, like, well, look, you just click and drag, and it's just clicky, clicky, draggy, droppy. Come on, dude, it's easy. Come on, and it stuck, and it's just stuck with me since, and it's just evolved. And I've had people like Scott Hanselman say it, on big shows, and I've had a bunch of like other people. Everyone's. By the way, it's not like I don't want people to use it. I've got a copyright on it or anything. You're free to use it as much as you want. Feel free to use it. It will help me make the case to get it into the Oxford English Dictionary. So that's
very cool. Fair enough. So yeah, that sounds good. These but you see they were called nodding donkeys. These oil things. Yeah, I've only seen those. That's really interesting. I've only seen those on like films and TV shows.
Yeah. I had only seen them on films and TV shows till I moved to America. And then the first night I arrived in that town, there was one in the parking lot of the hotel that I checked into.
No way. That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's quite strange. I got a bit of a random thing here, mate. Is it? I had on good authority that you do a relatively decent impression of a famous person from the DAX community. True
Yeah.
or
Why don't
false?
we do this? Why don't I do the impression? Well, actually,
Yeah,
and then you guys can tell me who I'm doing an impression of. How about that?
that's right. We can all agree to that, I think.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
by the way, I have immense respect to this individual. I've had many very entertaining evenings with this individual at many past conferences over the years, and and I've always been entertained watching his videos and webcasts because I think his kind of presentation style is very unique and very engaging. All right, so here goes. You guys can tell me if you know who I'm talking about. Ciao, friends. Welcome to another video from SQL BI. I am a business intelligence consultant, a DAX aficionado, and I'm very good. Very good. And in this video, I will show the calculator function with the inner and outer context transition at the same time. At the same time. And
I love it.
here is my Contoso model. Who was that?
Is it? I don't know. One of the two guys from Cube. Adam Saxon, right? You got it there. Oh man, fantastic! Yeah, all perfect guesses. Love it, Henry the Owl. Yeah, they're actually they're all so close. They're all so close. We know who it is. It's fantastic. I gotta say, my wife is Italian, and what I really enjoyed from that impression was the E on the end, like because I used to work for EasyJet, and it used to it means you have all these like automated, you press a button, and it plays like an announcement, and it would do the announcement in many languages. And I used to love the fact that the Italian one, when it said EasyJet, wouldn't say EasyJet, it was EasyJet. It has to have that E on EasyJet.
EasyJet.
There they go. That's when it was Ruth from Kerbal. That's correct.
Yeah. EasyJet, like a calculator and DAX, and and definitely, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Fantastic. Mate, one final question before we call it a day. Is it okay?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Okay. Any plans on in-memory AGS on top of in-memory D?
In-memory D? D?
I'm scared. I'm scared of in-memory D, to be honest. But there you go.
So let's see. They're on the backlog. I don't have a time frame. They're not committed for the next semester. We're focusing at the moment to get to GA, hybrid tables to GA, and in some parallel universe where some guy called Christian Wade leaks all of these things before they're fully announced, and in this parallel universe, there may hypothetically be the need for something like query scale out in Power BI. That would be what the analysis services team would be focusing on. And aggregations over in-memory tables is something we want to do. We just don't have a time frame yet.
Fair enough. I don't know what in-memory D is. I read the question and I got to the final two words. I was like, I don't know what I'm actually reading at this point.
That's the code name for the feature. Yeah, in-memory D.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. So
cool.
Awesome.
So do you want to see my dog or not?
Yeah, definitely. I always want to see a dog, mate.
Yeah, because my dog has been barking the whole time. I can't believe I've managed to focus. And I don't know what my dog is going to do when we go back to the office in a couple of weeks, when we're going to be working 3 days a week back in, at the moment we're in Bellevue. They're building nice for us in Redmond. And I don't know what my dog's going to do because my dog is a COVID baby dog, right?
Yeah.
And she's known me at home her whole life, and then suddenly I'm going to go into the office. I don't know what's going to happen. So just hold on for 1 second while I get her, right? Because she loves DAX. She actually likes MDX a lot as well.
Oh, really? That's impressive because I don't know about that.
Yeah, she's a big fan of Chris Webb. But
Who isn't?
she told me that she likes the old Chris Webb that used to
Oh,
do a lot
okay.
of MDX stuff.
Yeah,
there
that's
you go.
fair enough.
And now
I can respect it.
she doesn't like. Yeah, well, I'm not saying she doesn't like it, but she's more impressed with the MDX stuff.
Should bite the new Chris Webb.
Let me quickly get her.
Yeah, go for it. I'm gonna look at this.
She's dying to say hello. Hold on.
How should we pronounce Deneb? Deneb. Yeah. Ask Jeff how you should pronounce Deneb. Just Jeff's got us down all the pronunciations of Deneb. Box in Italian. I want to see it. Dog play pool. We can see some art of dogs playing pool. I'm pretty sure that's a thing as well. I'm back on my own again. It's like last week when I was on my own. There's the camera switched on now, but I'm just going to talk and bring us some comments. The fish. This is what I said. When we speak in the other week, Daniel, I got the impression that the answer was actually I don't care, to be honest. So I'll stick with that. Whoever pronounces Deneb at that time is saying it the right way. Look at the size of that huge dog. That dog would eat my dog.
And she knows the difference between a member, a tuple or tuple, whatever you want to call it, and a set. That's what she just learnt.
Very impressive.
Yeah.
Very impressive. Such a calm dog as well. My dog's crazy. He'd be like running around like a little mental animal. Look at that. And how old is she, Sarah?
She is a COVID baby, so she's a couple of years old.
Damn, yeah. That is
she's starting to calm down a bit
not
now.
Bad.
Yeah.
Very nice, mate. We always enjoy to have a dog visitor. They're fantastic.
Yeah. Cool.
Love it.
All right,
right, mate.
Thanks very much.
Well, thank you, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure. I've loved your explanations, of which I've understood 50%, but other people understood 100%. As ever, I learn as I go because I've always got a lot to learn, don't we all? But it's been an absolute pleasure, mate. It's been really, really good fun. Everyone in the chat, thank you so much. It's been great to have all of your questions and discussions and guessing to see who the impression was. I actually have Alberto on the show in a few weeks, so I can play the recording and we can give Christian a mark out of 10, or Alberto can give Christian a mark out of 10 on that accent, which I think is fair, right? So have a lovely evening, morning, day, all that kind of stuff. Take care, and I will be back next Thursday.
Thank you very much, Ben. Thanks, everyone. Just keep promoting Quickie, Draggy, Droppy till the cows come home. And
forever. We'll always do that, mate.
At some point.